By the early 1980s, Los Angeles glowed like a dream. Red carpets, flashbulbs, new money. The film industry was booming again, and the city seemed unstoppable. But beneath that shine, something invisible was moving through the streets, nightclubs, and studios, something that would soon take thousands of lives and change Hollywood forever. This is the story of how the AIDS epidemic reshaped Hollywood. The first cases appeared in 1981, right here in Los Angeles. Doctors at UCLA Medical Center and Cedars-Sinai Hospital began treating young men for rare infections, pneumocystis, pneumonia, and Kaposi's sarcoma, illnesses usually seen in the elderly. Most of the patients were gay. No one knew what to call it. Early reports used the term gay-related immune deficiency, or GRID. The media barely covered it. When the Los Angeles Times finally printed a short piece, it was buried deep inside the paper. The disease didn't have a name yet, and few outside the gay community even knew it existed. By 1982, doctors had a new name: Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome, AIDS. But with the name came stigma. Hollywood was full of rumor. Hairdressers, dancers, makeup artists, the people who made stars shine, started disappearing. A few actors canceled projects, claiming fatigue or travel. Behind closed doors, agencies purged client lists. Studios quietly rewrote insurance policies to avoid risk. Inside the city's gay community, fear spread faster than the virus itself. Clubs in West Hollywood that had been safe havens turned into whispered zones of suspicion. Friends stopped hugging. Hospital rooms became places of isolation. The government stayed silent. President Ronald Reagan, a former actor who'd once ruled the same Hollywood social circles, didn't publicly mention AIDS until September 1985, 4 years and more than 5,000 American deaths after doctors first sounded the alarm. During that silence, Los Angeles had to save itself. Grassroots groups like the AIDS Project Los Angeles, or APLA, and the Los Angeles Gay and Lesbian Community Services Center formed almost overnight. Volunteers, many from the film and theater world, delivered meals, raised money, and comforted patients when their families wouldn't. It was a community forced to become its own first responder. Then, in 1985, a moment changed everything. Actor Rock Hudson, one of Hollywood's most beloved leading men, publicly announced that he had AIDS. To millions, he was the first familiar face of the epidemic, a man who had shared the screen with Doris Day and Elizabeth Taylor, now dying from a disease no one wanted to name. Hudson's illness made front-page news around the world. He died that October, at 59. Within days, donations to AIDS charities spiked. Politicians who had avoided the topic could no longer ignore it. For the first time, Hollywood saw that silence had a cost. Hudson's close friend Elizabeth Taylor transformed grief into action. She co-founded the American Foundation for AIDS Research in 1985 and later launched the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. She used her celebrity to force conversation, confronting bigotry on talk shows and fundraising galas. Her activism broke the industry's wall of fear. Others followed, using their fame as leverage. For the first time, Hollywood began to fight back with visibility. Television joined the fight. On November 11, 1985, NBC aired An Early Frost, the first major network film about AIDS. It drew tens of millions of viewers and portrayed a young man returning home to tell his family he was sick. For many Americans, it was the first time they had seen AIDS humanized, not as a headline, but as a face. Movies followed: Parting Glances, Longtime Companion, and later Philadelphia. The screen that once ignored the crisis became its loudest messenger. But behind the camera, Hollywood was still bleeding. Entire creative networks vanished. Choreographers, set designers, lighting experts, the quiet architects of the city's image died in their 30s and 40s. In the mid-1980s, funerals became weekly events in Los Angeles. The industry's hypocrisy was hard to ignore. Studios marketed glamour while quietly pushing out anyone suspected of being sick. Casting directors dropped clients for insurance reasons. Agents warned actors not to attend AIDS fundraisers or even mention the word in interviews. Still, activism kept growing. By 1986, APLA had expanded into one of the largest AIDS support organizations in the world. West Hollywood incorporated as a city that same year, founded largely by activists who wanted local government to take public health action when others wouldn't. By the early 1990s, AIDS had become one of the leading causes of death among men aged 25 to 44 across the United States, and Los Angeles was one of the hardest-hit cities. Then came November 7, 1991. NBA superstar Magic Johnson, the face of Los Angeles sports, announced that he was HIV positive. Overnight, the conversation changed. Johnson wasn't an actor or part of the Hollywood rumor mill. He was a global hero, married, heterosexual, and adored by all of Los Angeles. His announcement proved that HIV didn't discriminate, and neither should compassion. Hollywood embraced him. Talk shows ran special episodes on HIV education. Musicians and movie stars wore red ribbons on the 1992 Academy Awards red carpet, a symbol created by New York's Visual AIDS Artists Caucus, but amplified worldwide by Los Angeles. By 1995, medical breakthroughs, new antiretroviral drugs known as protease inhibitors, began turning HIV from a death sentence into a chronic condition. But by then, the losses were irreversible. An entire generation of creatives was gone. The 1980s had taken some of the city's brightest minds before they ever reached their prime. The legacy lives on. The AIDS Walk Los Angeles, founded in 1985, still marches every year through West Hollywood and downtown, raising millions for treatment and prevention. And throughout the entertainment industry, memorial plaques hang quietly on studio walls. Names of hairstylists, costume designers, and camera operators who kept Hollywood alive even as the world looked away. The AIDS epidemic didn't just change Hollywood's headlines, it changed its heart. It turned glamour into activism, grief into storytelling, and fear into empathy. Los Angeles has always been a city built on illusion, a place that sells hope even when it's hurting. But in the 1980s, that illusion cracked, and through the fracture, something real came out: humanity.